Hey everybody, and welcome back to Emerald Coast. We're in day 10 of late autumn. We need to refuel our harvester here. Get that refueled. Been busy harvesting our soybeans. We're over here getting ready to harvest fields 7 and 8. We've already gotten fields 1, 2, and 6 harvested in the last day and a half or so. Right, looks like I have finished refueling there. This thing sure does soak up the fuel. That is for sure. See there? It's field 6, field 2 there in the background. Had pretty good weather. Still got some mud to deal with, but we've had some pretty decent weather as of late. Just going to go ahead and get on harvesting here. I just realized that I didn't have the head tracking on, so let's see, maybe I somehow paused that, or it's just flat out not working today. Alright, well, see if we can't get that figured out. But yeah, we've got still to remain. We still have, once we still have fields 7, 6, and 12 left to harvest for the rest of the year. Then that will basically complete the fall harvest. As I said, we got all of the corn up off the field the other day, and everything. Our apple orchard is doing rather nice. I've showed you guys that or not? I think I did. Trying to basically work our way, do a little bit of cutting up and down on this side, and then we're going to do a north-south run. We're going to cut east and west a couple times on that end of the field. Because we've got mud between these fields, and I want to cut basically enough off of the ends so that we can do full turns on the field and not have to get out into that mud, because that mud does introduce a bit of a problem with respect to getting this harvester turned around. Those rear wheels get down in that mud and they just don't want to turn left or right. Big front wheels will sink down in there, and well, then it's all done once we get one wheel spinning. So don't want to get too far into that mud, that's for sure. Just got one harvester working out here. We don't want anything, don't need anything fancy. Just take our time. We've got 2.5 more days in autumn to get these 3 fields harvested. See our forecast. We've had really great weather. We haven't had rain for probably about 3-4 days now, maybe longer. We do have rain in the forecast for the first day of winter and the 4th day of winter for all. You can see our winter temps here in Emerald Coast are not that terrible bad at all. Low on day 3, down low 40s, and that is the closest we're getting to freezing temperatures here. suspect the second half of winter will be no less as comfortable as 48 degrees, 42 degrees in the winter, or at night, not in the winter, but at night, and 60s and 50s during the day. Rear wheel, trying to get down in that mud. So I hope you guys are okay with the release schedule of every Sunday so far. You know, it's those that are used to 3 days, 3 videos a week on Emerald Coast. This is a big stretch for to go down to a weekly schedule. I think that's what's best to keep being able to work through Emerald Coast at the same time working through all of the projects that I've got myself involved into already in 19. Got Christmas fast approaching. Oh my gosh, can't believe it's about 2 weeks away at this point. By the time this video comes out, if I am remembering correctly, give it 2 or 3 weeks at this point. I don't want to get between this field and that other field because I'm sure that there is mud there. I'm going to try to do 4 up and down passes here on this end, then we'll go back up and make our north-south runs. That's what we want to do. So I'm kind of excited for Christmas, not for the Christmas holiday, or not for the, you know, getting gifts. I should say not. I shouldn't say not for the Christmas holiday, but I should say, or not for the whole gift getting thing. You know, in our mind, me and the wife, when we had kids, it was like, you know, Christmas isn't about us. Christmas is gift giving part of Christmas is more for the kids than us. So we end up, well, life ends up sometimes dictating what we end up giving each other for Christmas. In fact, this year you could say we gave each other a set of tires. I bought, had to buy her car, had to buy a set of tires for her car, and I bought a set of tires for my car just in the last month, 6 weeks or so. When those expenses came up, it was like, well, Merry Christmas to you and Merry Christmas to myself. That'll just about do us. Then, you know, we'll spend some money on the kids, their stuff. My son's birthday, his birthday's pretty close to Christmas. Not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. With respect to you know, being a kid and getting gifts. I think it's kind of a bad thing from a kid perspective, because you wait the entire year, then you have your birthday, and then probably, I don't know, 6 weeks later, if not even 6 weeks, probably more like 5 weeks later, Christmas happens. So, you know, do you get a smaller Christmas because you just had a birthday, kind of a thing? Do you get a smaller birthday because you got Christmas coming up? You know, kind of think the people with a mid-year birthday, like the June, July, and maybe even August, probably April through August birthdays, probably get the best best of both worlds. Because, you know, it's been far enough between your birthday and Christmas that people don't really think, well, I'll just get them that for Christmas instead. Or, you know, I'll get them something small and give them something bigger for Christmas. I think as you approach November birthdays, definitely December birthdays, probably January birthdays, and maybe even February birthdays, that idea of, well, I'll give them a big Christmas, and then, you know, we'll go a little light on his birthday since it's so close to Christmas. Be interested what your guys' thoughts are on that. You all have birthdays in that I'll call it the kid danger zone of birthdays with respect to a major gift-giving holiday like Christmas, or do you think that's not really a problem? May have seen or had you know, siblings that have had birthdays in, let's say, the mid-year, and then you or maybe someone else has had a birthday toward the start or the end of the year, and you may have been able to see over time that volume of gifts is different between the two time periods. That'd be interesting to know. See, our health up there on our cows is still at 82%. We've had no grass growth since early September, or early autumn. Early September. I guess that is kind of the start of autumn, maybe. Not really, but at any rate. So we had a little grass growth spurt between late summer and early autumn, but we haven't had any grass growth from early autumn on. So mid-autumn gave us no growth. The transition to late autumn gave us no growth. So our cows have basically eaten through that one straight stage of growth at this point, and are really just sustaining on power food. That's what they'll sustain all winter long and the first part of spring next year. If we get these 3 fields done before the end of late autumn, I am going to do some forage lifting with respect to lifting some grass over on Big Field 25 and taking it to the fermentation silos, just to stock up and enhance our silage levels. Something I wanted to accomplish. Well, I was just checking there with the mini map. I wanted to see, I thought that this field was one of the need to be plow fields, and it was. Because if I look down in the bottom right information screen, you might be able to see that we're getting 72 bushels an acre yield out of this field. This field has got full fertilization, and we're getting 72.35 bushels an acre to be exact. On the other fields, on field 2, for example, which did not have was plowed, I should say, but in a low compaction state, we were getting a higher yield. We were getting like 96, 98 bushels an acre, I think. So the need plow state is basically the equivalent of heavy compaction. Kind of see with the conversion mod here, bushels per acre being reported there is definitely lower with more compaction. think we can probably go one more up and down pass before we need to mess with unloading. Again, just due to the overall yield levels, fairly small. Would be cool on this harvester. Let's say this harvester was brought forward into 19. Be cool if it was brought forward into 19.1 because it is a pretty cool harvester to begin with. It's got lots of really cool animations, lots of sounds to it and everything. But I was looking at that TV screen and thinking, really neat if we could have a camera view of the grain, you know, the grain hopper here. And it kind of looks. I can't zoom in well enough, but it kind of looks like there could be a camera there in the middle, right behind the cab. It's like a little spot for something to be mounted there. You could kind of see through that little TV the bin, or possibly to have a rear camera, you know, mounted on the back of this harvester, so that when you were reversing, you would be able to see what's behind you. Kind of like the typical rear view cameras that they have in pretty much any modern car nowadays. It'd be cool if you could IC control that. You could spacebar and turn the TV on, and maybe cycle between two cameras, one on the grain bin and one on the rear view. That would be pretty neat. I think we've seen mods in 17 that had that capability, or had like a secondary camera that you could pop up in a UI window. But it would be cool if it could be overlaid right there on the TV screen. Any talented modders out there that might be able to figure that out? It's an idea for you. Definitely looks like we're going to be come up here and unload. Thought I swung you out. Didn't have head tracking on, so I couldn't look. So. That's part of the load from the other field. Just brought it over here. I didn't bother unloading it. Lights on. There. Let's see here. Oh. Just looking at this bin. Right there. It's not really a camera mount, that's a bracket of something else, but it'd be pretty cool if there would be a little camera there pointed down. Kind of get this high view of the bin. That would be pretty neat. Alright, we'll get back to business. That's pretty much all we're going to be doing here today is working on our fields. Goal I have is to get 7 done today. Then we'll get 8 and hopefully 12 done tomorrow, which will leave 1 day left to to do some grass mowing and lifting for the fermenters before winter comes. Then winter will be, of course, selling some crops, selling most of our crops off during winter, selling our wood chips, and might be able to get back into the woods. Might be able to get back in the woods this year. We didn't have too much going on in the woods last year. Kind of stayed busy with everything. See how the weather fares. If we have good clear weather, then we should be able to have time to get into the forest. Go. So for those that are watching, I'd be interested to know, have you all completely abandoned at this point 17? Or are you still actively playing 17? Maybe you're waiting for certain mods to show up for 19 before you really make that dive into 19. Maybe you've just played it a little casually, but are honestly hoping that Seasons comes out very shortly. That'd be really cool. I can tell you that there's been rumors going afloat. One of the rumors that I saw before 19 even released, basically that was being floated around there by some folks that had early access copies to 19, therefore had access to the new editor, and could obviously then export to base maps using the editor. Then once those are exported, open them up in the editor and take a look at them. Basically, the rumor, and who knows, maybe between the recording of this and the airing of this, that rumor's been validated. Be interesting. But anyway, the rumor that's been floating around since before 19 was officially released to everyone was that there were little tidbits of seasons sprinkled throughout the two base game maps. I don't know. I haven't seen what they're talking about, but quite possibly it's maybe references to the Seasons XMLs where you can have custom weather, custom environmental, temperatures and such. Maybe it is what was formerly the snow mask. Maybe they're seeing remnants of the Seasons snow mask in the base game maps, and maybe that's how Seasons, or not how Seasons, but maybe that's how Giants is doing the old doesn't rain through the roof anymore thing. Maybe they are doing somehow a mask in buildings, because they did say that they have fixed that. I've yet to see gameplay video of it not raining in a roof. Probably by the time this airs, I will have forced the game to rain to see it for myself, but I haven't seen it yet. But basically, what people are deriving out of these rumors is that Seasons is maybe not far out post 19 release, and if it is, then the base maps are already prepared for it. So that's interesting. I'll add that at Gamescom, when they were doing preview videos, gameplay videos of 19, early 19, there was at a point in time when the folks playing got into the game menus and cycled through the menus fairly quickly, like they were trying to find something. Nonetheless, I was able to basically slow the video down and get screenshots of all the different menus. And in one of the menus, there was how do you want your temperature to be displayed, i.e., do you want it showing in Fahrenheit or Celsius? And that was an interesting menu option. Without seasons, what does temperature have anything to do with the base game? Now it was kind of explained away by some folks that in previous iterations of Farm Sim there was a forecast, like a 5-day forecast or a 3-day forecast. It really didn't mean anything. It just was there. Didn't impact gameplay at all. I mean, if it was cold weather, it was cold weather. So it was kind of explained away as it's possibly the return of that type of a feature, because they were talking about, you know, adding some realism aspects, and maybe one idea was to add a forecast, but really didn't mean much beyond just having a forecast that you could pull up. But if you then read into the maps appear to have been already prepared for seasons before release, based on maybe the existing of certain XML files, maybe the existence of Snowmask file, GRLE file. Who knows? Maybe coupled with those two things coupled together, maybe that that indicates that Seasons was a hopeful addition all along. Kind of the under-promise, over-deliver concept of don't promise that it will be there until it's definitely there. Deny it emphatically, no, 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 and then, oh, by the way, it's there. Type of an idea that just didn't make it to full bake in time, and possibly it will be fully baked, you know, at some point post-release. There's the hope, right? Those Seasons players, there is the eternal hope, and maybe that's something that you're holding out for. Well, guys, we are close to that 30-minute mark, and I know the last few Emerald Coast videos have been a little short. One was short because I did a time lapse and didn't anticipate well enough how much video I needed to record over 30 minutes to compensate for the speed up in video playback and everything. But you know, no point in dragging out the video if there really isn't much either to say or specifically do. That all my plan is today, the rest of this game day, is to work on field 7, harvesting soybeans. Then tomorrow it's going to be field 8 and 12, harvesting more soybeans, and just keep plugging away at it. So if you liked the video, please go ahead and hit that like button. Let me know in the comments section if you are still enjoying or not the Emerald Coast videos that we're putting out here. If you're not enjoying them, don't watch them. If you are enjoying them, let me know. That way I can know if it's worthwhile to continue or not. We started this series. I said we were going to go 10 years. To be honest, the kind of gameplay that I want to do, I'm not a quick player. I like to do things, but I like to take my time and do them. Yeah, we've got a fair number of fields, but we've got a 14-meter wide header. I don't have the giant case harvester. One, because it doesn't really fit the period. Two, you know, it just doesn't fit the way we're trying to play. But I could, yeah, if I played at 1x speed, I could probably hammer these fields out real fast with 3 or 4 harvesters and just basically burn through the gears. that's not how I'm wanting to play it. So it does seem to take a long time to get through a year. Even trying to speed through and not do something every single day if there doesn't absolutely need to be done. But also with realizing that with a one video a week release schedule, that a game year is probably going to take the better part of 3 months or 4 months to get through. So 10 years is to go another 6 full years. It's probably going to be another 2 years of real life time, and I'm not sure that that investment is going to be fruitful. One, from the standpoint of sustaining my interest, because to put out the game time between this video and the video before has been probably about 8 hours of gameplay between these two videos. And to think about all the time that I'm going to be putting into, or am putting into, 19 at this point, as well as other projects and family life and everything else, I just, I think it would be to the point of playing almost an entire week on Emerald Coast just to get enough, just to advance the game enough to the point where we would be ready for the next video. So think about that and let me know in the comments. And until next time, guys, happy farming.